Dr. Yasin, sir, we would like to start. We would like to start the.
Yes, sir. You want me to start, isn't it? No, I can't hear you. I think you need to, yeah.
Sir, we'll start with a formal introduction, sir.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. A very good morning, one and all. Warm greetings from Sheshadripuram Institute of Commerce and Management. We cordially welcome you all to the webinar on information search skills, an initiative taken from the Library and Science Information Center of our institution. I once again welcome all the faculty members, research scholars across various institutions, and student audiences present at the webinar. The resource person for the day is Dr. Yasin Salan. I would like to give a brief introduction about him. Dr. Yasin Salan serves as Chief Librarian of South Asian Institute of Advanced Christian Studies, Bangalore. Dr. Yasin has obtained PhD degree in Library and Information Science from Bharatidasan University, Tiruchirappalli. He has more than 20 years of experience as a theological librarian. Dr. Yasin has published nearly 9 journal articles, 15 conference papers, and facilitated numerous workshops and webinars. He has attended and presented papers at international conferences held in United States of America, Canada, South Korea, Thailand, Nepal, Indonesia, and Singapore. His areas of interest are digital library, information literacy, information behavior, research methods, and open source software. A warm welcome to you on behalf of our college and audiences, sir. Sir, over to you. You can take it over.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm indeed honored by the invitation from Sheshadri from Institute of Commerce and Management, from the principal, Professor Vidya, Madam, and librarian, Mrs. Asha, and faculty members, friends, scholars, and colleagues, friends. It's indeed a privilege I consider to share with you some of my insights on information search skills. Let me share my screen. Yes. A brief introduction about this topic. We are going to look at information search aspects, how information can be located in various media, and the strategies that we employ in locating or identifying information. So during this course of my session, if you have any questions, please post them in the chat box, or at the end of the session, you could unmute and you can ask any questions. Let me begin with a famous quotation that I always cherish and appreciate. It is from T.S. Eliot's poem titled as The Rock. Where is the life we have lost in living? Where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? Where is the knowledge and we have lost in information? And we as librarians, we say, where is the information we lost in the library? At the end of this session, that we should be able to identify our information needs and learn to carry out our search for information more efficiently, effectively, and retrieve better research, better search results and refine them using the filters or parameters, and know where to look for such information, and at the end and acknowledge and cite such information that we have obtained. Now you might ask this question, why we need information search skills? Today we are bombarded with information, the information explosion that is everywhere, and so much so the internet also has caused a big revolution in the way the information is acquired, stored, and delivered. And too much of information, or sometimes too little information we find, or sometimes we face the issue of where to start and not sure of where to begin our search. The kind of information needs that we are faced with is so complex. The type of documents that we are looking for, the information that we needed for a timely manner, and the demand for accuracy of such information is demanded. And we are also exposed to a wide range of information sources available in print as well as in digital format. When I say information search, and then we have this word information literate, a popular terminology that we have come across. Information literacy is more popular. In early 90s, when people are recruited and the employers were looking for people who are computer literate, people who can operate computers, use the systems effectively. But of late, and the employers looking for who are information literate. By that, a person who is able to recognize when information is needed and locate such information that they are in need and evaluate such information that they found and use the information. So in short, information literate are those who have learned to learn. I repeat, information literate are those who have learned to learn. And we all of us involved in the teaching, profession, we have used information for our teaching purposes, for our research, and for our various needs. Information need is on a daily basis, we need information for various purposes. But how do we find information in different medias? Okay. In early days, before the computers were used in the libraries, the library catalogs played an important role. And today you go to any library, those catalog cabinets are kept in like display unit and no longer used because they become obsolete because of this introduction of information communication technologies. But using those ICT tools help us to find information in print sources as well. Like we would have used traditionally when we need information or when we look at a book. If we are looking for a particular information, first we start with table of contents. What are those the chapters used in this particular book? So we used table of contents. Table of contents plays an important role in locating information in print sources, and also index at the back of each book, or sometimes we find index for a particular journal, and indexes help us to also find information based on the title or based on the subject or authors. And the next one, the book reviews also helped us to find information that are available in print media, book reviews both in digital as well as in print media. Book reviews help us to know what are the resources or books recently published on a particular topic. And book covers, book jackets, and you see at the back of the book cover, you find a short description about that book, or popular personalities or the subject experts or opinions are displayed in order that it attracts more users to use such books. So book covers also help us to find information in print sources. We also come across promotional literature, posters, help us to introduce such new arrivals. And most important ones are use of library catalogs, both digital, the online library catalog, opaque, online public access catalog, to locate information based on the author, subject, and title. Popularly, you would have seen those cabinets, title cards, author cards, and the subject cards. And also the dictionaries, encyclopedias, almanacs, and directories also played a critical role in finding information. Even today, and someone, a good scholar would begin with the dictionaries and encyclopedias to find subject related articles. So these are the some of the tools used or techniques used finding information in print sources. Now let me put this question to you. Most of us are familiar with Google, and they say 90 percentage or more students start with Google and end with Google. That means they don't go beyond Google search engine. So Google sometimes, even today, Google has become a dominant, a vast majority of us. If I ask you, how many of you use Google? Almost all of you would say that you will use Google. That it doesn't, I do not necessarily mean Google is substandard, but Google is really useful. But there are other search engines also important as far as information needs are concerned. And they say it's one of the studies proved is only one of the 500 times of the web that we know and access, that Google search engines, or for that matter, any other search engines, reaches only 0.03% of the web, which means the remaining majority of the content on the web are invisible. They are in deep web. Unless we use certain tools, we will not be able to reach or access such information. It's very difficult to estimate the kind of a content that is sitting there in the invisible web. Is only using a particular or specialized search techniques or tools will help us to reach such invisible content. It is a content based on a payment like subscription based, or the resources protected by password, or a captcha technology that is used, or results based from the databases that we use queries into. So this deep content is inaccessible by web crawlers or the search engine. So Google, what it shows to us is we only see at the tip of the iceberg. And you perhaps you would know what is a search engine. Basically, search engines, uses web crawlers to travel across millions of web pages and start indexing such information in their own repository and creates a database. So when you type in a query, it searches the index and throws the links. Unless it has got some links, it would not index them. So it display also the algorithm that is used based on the relevance and ranking. The number of links in a page that has, it gets more number of, or it gets a precedence in getting displayed. And they also say Google uses certain algorithms. Sometimes it is not appropriate, or they have their own internal mechanism in what sort of results should show up. Some of the scholarly content, you wouldn't get it unless we use certain certain keywords or vocabularies, or the controlled vocabularies, the terms that are used for describing the content. The search engines, basically it uses a program to search and retrieve the websites, and the links that are given, if they are active, you are able to locate it. Otherwise, if it's a dead link, sometimes it gets replaced. So later on, I'll come to you how to find some of those websites that are no longer available or were used by you earlier but not available now. Internet Archive has a Wayback Machine a repository index, which helps us to even to find some of the early websites that are no longer available from their web servers, but the Internet Archive holds. Some of the popular search engines are Google, Ask Jeeves, AOL, Search, Alta Vista, and so on. The internet guides. Internet guides are basically, it's a directory. Simply you would find a list of subject headings. Like if you have seen earlier, Yahoo has had a directory of various subjects. You go deeper and you get subdirectories, and you go on finding websites based on a particular subject category. So directories, basically it provides list of websites in an organized manner based on the subject indexes. Like one of the examples, the libraries in Internet Index or EBSCO-host and Yahoo, all internet guides. Now, deep web search engines, as I mentioned, some of these like Clusty, Informind, Internet Archive, Direct Search, these are these sites or these repositories are not directly, or rather the Google's web crawlers limit is very limited. It doesn't get so deeper the way that we wanted. So if you go to each of these sites and you, for example, Internet Archive, you go there and you search for information, the content that is sitting there is sometimes inaccessible by the web crawlers. So the deep web search engines help us to go beyond Google and find information. Okay, so if you are tired that you did not find useful information after several attempts of using Google search engine, don't worry, and you need to find some of these web search engines, deep web search engines, rather, their sites you go and find information. Or some other useful sources. These are just a small a portion. Books.google.com, perhaps many of you would know this. Scholargoogle.com. WorldCat is one of the largest union catalog repository. It has got millions of bibliography records, directory of open access books, directory of open access journals, Internet Archive. And then Microsoft also introduced academic.microsoft site, which helps us to find useful bibliographic information. Now, let me tell you the steps involved in finding information. Some of you have already done this, but helps you to refresh your thoughts and your memories. The most important thing is choosing right kind of topics. Sometimes the topics itself too vast, and sometimes research scholars are unable to handle the topic. So choosing the right topic is very important. Okay, and often some of us who are involved in thesis writing at the doctoral level or at the master's level, your guide and you need to sit together and refine your topic first of all, whether there is a time limit there or the area wise or the particular concept that you would like to handle. But after sometimes many would struggle when after defining the topic and then realize it's too big to handle. So choosing to do the right topics is the first thing. After having your topics defined and you identify the key concepts, what are the key concepts, areas, subjects that are used or are related to this particular topic? You will find sometimes synonyms related to your topics, and sometimes some of those popular terminologies or subject headings that are used in controlled vocabularies and so on. And then use a particular search strategy to find such information that you are looking for your topic. And using controlled vocabulary help us to find information more quickly than using keywords. You might ask, what is the difference between the keyword and the subject headings? Subject headings are described by the catalogers to describe the particular topic or book or article and so on. Often you will find them in the catalogs or subjects that are used. So those subject headings are used to describe that particular book or a document, whereas the keywords or natural language words used to find information. You will find the subject headings only in the subject field, whereas the keywords are searched everywhere. It could be from the title, author, publisher, or from anywhere. So using controlled vocabulary helps you to find a right kind of information, especially when you are using subscription-based databases like EBSCO, Procust, UMI, or Brill, or any digital libraries. They use controlled vocabulary, or we call it metadata fields, and use a library, catalog, or search engines to find information. And then once you find the citations, bibliographic information, then you would look for the full text article either in a print form or in digital form. Building a good bibliographic information helps you to proceed with the research. Remember, in your review of literature, the more bibliographic records you have, it is better for you. Your bibliographic information helps you to know what has been researched on a particular topic and look for such information or the resources based on your bibliographic information. What are the search strategies that are popularly used? These are some of the suggested ones, like keyword search, phrase search, a Boolean operator search, questions, and a use of advanced search. And let's look at one after the other. Now, sometimes we don't know where to begin. The best place is to, I asked in one of the webinars, where you begin your search. Almost all of them said they begin with Google. But doesn't harm you to start with the Google. Google is not the only solution, but there are other useful tools that would help you to find information. It all depends on what topic you are researching. Library catalog is the best place to start with, and online databases, if your library subscribes, or like our National Digital Library of India as a good repository, and National Library of India also allows all of us to access their digital subscription based content freely without any charges, and using search engines like Google Scholar or Internet Archive and others, and look at directories. Let's look at the keyword searching. Keyword searching is basically that we use a particular a term based on the topics that are given to us or that we are researching, and select. Some of us tend to just simply type the title or the topic itself, and that's not the right way to start with. You need to identify the key concepts that are used and use them in the query box and the search box. And if needed, use quotation marks. For example, if you have to use a phrase, say in your context, say human resources management. So you could put them into quotes, so that it helps the search engine to find exactly that phrase in the repository. Otherwise, if you don't put them in quotes, what happened? It will search almost all the words and retrieve results. Sometimes we do not have time, and they say majority of the users, research scholars, they don't even go to the second page of Google results. The first page, whatever is listed, and people are satisfied and they move on. So sometimes useful results or useful information may be sitting somewhere down in the pages, but is using right kind of keyword search mechanism help us to find information. Using common words are ignored, like using prepositions, articles, and introduction, after, before, and so on. It do not make any difference. Please refrain from using such words, whether you will get a noise. We call it noise, the information noise, and you get unwanted results, then we are tired. So use the right appropriate keywords to look for information. And some of the specialized search engines have the option or allows you to use plus or minus symbols. So it is nothing but using a plus symbol means that you add it, or the minus symbol means you omit and say and or not options. We will look at a couple of examples later in this session. Now, the Boolean search option is one of the popular search options or information retrieval tool that is used across the globe. Today, if we look at any library catalog without Boolean operators and no information search retrieval is possible. And it is so powerful. It is one of the best information retrieval process that is used globally. Almost all search engines have got this Boolean operators tools that we use, and you could benefit enormously. For example, if you are looking for information on globalization and human rights, you see the center part where the two concepts discussed together. So those documents that are related to both of these keywords or words are kept in the center. So when you use and it retrieves the documents where these two concepts are discussed, interacted. Whereas on the other hand, when you say or, your research becomes too broader. When you use and option, your search becomes or research becomes more narrowed down. Whereas when you use or, it opens up the scope, it widens. Or use more often it is used for synonyms or related terms. So for example, if you say globalization and human rights, it retrieves either of them or both. So or has to be used sparingly. More often and is more powerful. The third in the search in Boolean operators are not, which means exclude. We are instructing the search engine to omit those words that are listed after not. When you say globalization but not human rights, you get globalization records not on human rights. This Boolean operators are named, it is named after George Boole, a famous mathematician who invented this mechanism of using plus minus symbols. So today, these Boolean operators are used for information retrieval more powerfully globally. In the Boolean operators, while using, we could also use the nesting options or a near option. In a nesting option means, let's say, you could use your phrase in a parenthesis and put them in quotes and say and so on. For example, if you are looking for resources, say human resources, and so put them in quotes and parenthesis and management or and something else. So it exactly looks for, it gives a priority for the search terms used in the parenthesis and the next term that is used after and. In a string of searching, terms placed in the parenthesis are searched first, as I mentioned. The parenthesis must be used to group the terms if there is another Boolean operators being used. So for example, if you are using and or not options. Near is used to require words to be founded within 16 words. And so please do not use such a long phrase as that sometimes we use the entire title as a search query and to find information. That's not the right way. Sometimes near would help you to find related resources. For example, this is this one example I have mentioned here: smoking or tobacco and cancer. So it helps you to find information more useful resources using some of these Boolean operators with nesting combination. The question searching, sometimes we have questions, and what happens when you do something and you want to find an answer. For example, how COVID spreads and why, and you can use this ask.com or ask Jeeves, and so it helps you to find information. So these search engines or have a set of indexes already predefined onset and retrieved as and when we query. Like advanced searching. Advanced search is more popular and more useful tool for any research scholars. And so, almost all library catalogs, all the search engines have these features, and it helps you to refine your search much before you start your queries. If you have used some of the online databases like EBSCOhost or Brill and many other online databases, they would ask you whether you what type of documents you want to search for. Like if you want to search for particular language type documents, or the document type, or a particular period you want to look for, means publications published during particular period, or you are looking for articles related to a particular theme or subjects and so on. So you can give a combination of search terms like a title, author, keywords. Some of the online databases allow you to add as many combinations as you want. I would suggest you don't add more than 3 or 4 where you would find useful resources. If you go beyond that, sometimes it's a cumbersome, you don't find results at all. It's my experience. When you use these limiters, like a particular period you are looking for, or language type of, because sometimes databases have other languages like non-English records, which sometimes if you are intentionally looking for such non-English records, you can say specifically you are looking for Kannada or looking for English language records, and it helps you to get only precise results that you are looking for. There are 4 steps involved in your research in a database. When you are using a research databases, if you are using databases for your research, as I mentioned, you are composing your question, identifying the key concepts, and look up for the terminologies used in the database thesaurus. We call it controlled vocabulary. For example, in this, the example I have mentioned, how television violence can affect children. So the key concepts are television, violence, and children. The words like how, can, affect do not matter, sir. So we use these descriptors in the database and retrieve, and use these Boolean logic operators like and, or, not operators. As mentioned earlier, so this is a repeated example here. You see, if you use or, stress or anxiety, you get documents related or that discuss either stress or anxiety. Whereas if you use and, you get documents that discuss only stress and anxiety, not either of them. Okay. So whereas if you say not, it omits anxiety related documents, but you get stress related documents. And I often say, if you mess up with this, you get stress, or it adds up anxiety. Like this is one example that I want to show you here. When you conduct, say, literature review on common nutrition deficiencies in adolescents, so like say, the phrases that you could use it, like nutrition deficiencies, young adults, nutritional intake, and you see, look at context, whether you're looking for content in globally or a particular region or a periodicity, is a current or historical or trends and so on, and synonyms that are used like adolescents to diet. So these helps us to, these are smart ways of identifying information using some of these ideas, using phrases, synonyms, and context. This one screenshot from Google Scholar. Google Scholar has advanced search option, as many of you would know. You see, if you use if you give any input in the first field, find articles with all the words, which means it look for articles, all the words that are mentioned there. In the second field, if you say any, any input, it considers it's a phrase. Okay. In the third one, if you give any input, it will search either one of the words, at least one of the words. Okay. But if you use any keyword in the fourth field, it will omit. Okay. And other limiters, like you can say particular journal, or if you know the journal name, don't try to give a journal name. Sometimes we may misspell the journal title, so it's rather you leave it open. But if you are sure of you're looking for a particular journal article, you can mention the publication name and the date of publications, results that you want, articles published during a particular period. So these advanced search filters option in Google Scholar helps you to find information much more meaningful way. The strategies, as I mentioned, identify the keywords, start with the broader term and narrow down your results, use the limiters and filters that are available to refine the results. And sometimes we have to read the results very carefully. Sometimes in EBSCO, you will find whether suggested terms, or did you mean this? In Google also sometimes it tells, did you mean this? Some of those suggested topical terms are related, or as it would say, people who have seen this also have seen this. If you have been to Amazon site or Flipkart, and moment you search for something, it say people who looked for this item also had seen it. It's also attract. So the online databases also have that inbuilt mechanism. The moment you key certain words, it pops up and suggests, and did you mean this? And it has got also inbuilt dictionaries. It will pop up the terminology that you could use it. And read the results carefully, and for suggested terms, the sort the results based on the data publications, author, and its relevance. Remember, you need to repeat the search and approach the search engine in a different way by giving different keywords or concepts or terminologies. Think laterally and be persistent. Sometimes you may need to change the search engine if you are not getting useful results. By the way, if you are using Google's search engine, if you have not logged in, you get different results. And if you have logged in, you will get entirely different results in terms of number of records. I have tested and I was surprised. And see, Google assess your profile based on your, your association, your association with institution, or if you have been to some meetings and your profile is available, automatically searches your profile and gets matching records. So once you log in, you get a different results. If you have not logged in, your results would be entirely different. And the question arises, and you are bombarded with humpty number of results. How do we evaluate? It is very, very important. Today, the information in the internet, anybody can publish anything. Anybody can publish anything. Information is so vast, and it is just like noise. So we need to evaluate resources both in print as well as in the online resources that or web pages that we find. The four most important thing is the authorship. Who authored this work? Is this person enjoys reputation in this subject field? Is he an unknown author? Is this author an unknown or a new person? And how much reputation he enjoys, this person enjoys. The second one is, who is the publisher? Is this publisher renowned publishers like Brill published, or Wiley and McGraw-Hill, and so Oxford University or Cambridge University? Because publishers put certain parameters and filters before they publish. So publisher, they have their own process. So if a work is published by a known publisher, sometimes we don't think anything else, because we know for sure that publisher has employed quality control. So publisher information plays an important role. We need to look at who is the publisher and the accuracy and objectivity. Is this information accurate, or is it too vague, or is too broad, and it is what is the objectivity of this publication? And that is important for us. And the timeliness, is it too recent or is it too outdated? Are there any recent information published after this? So timeliness also important. And to whom this work has been published for? Is it for a scholarly community or for general public or for common anybody? So who is the audience? Or the other one, sponsorship. Is this work sponsored by known agencies, departments like Government of India or Department of Human Resources Management and so on? So who is the sponsorship? And the most important thing is there's a footnotes, endnotes, or bibliographic information, whether that particular piece of article that I'm looking has got endnotes or footnotes or bibliograph citations. Most important thing. If it has no citation, that's the blogs anybody can write. And such you may your work may not be appreciated if you quote some blogs as citations. So that does not mean that blogs are not useful, but it helps us to find information. But in a scholarly community, the works should have footnotes, endnotes, or bibliographic information, references. Web pages, as mentioned earlier, and is this site from an organization or educational institution, or is it from a government agency, or is a commercial publisher, or it's from an academic institution? What is the objectivity of this site? Is it just simply passing information, or is there any, what is the reason? What is the objectivity, the purpose of this site? When was it updated? If last 3-4 years it has not been updated, that means that site is information is obsolete. Is it well maintained, or it has got a contact information? Sometimes from website you do not find contact information. Anonymous. Today anybody can create any site and host information. And what is the authority of the publisher, author, and to whom it is intended? Audience, who are the audience? What is the content level? Is it for a scholarly community or for general public? So these are some of the suggested criteria help us to evaluate web pages that would help us to find useful information. And you would know by this time what is the difference between a search engine and an internet guide, and why do search engines return different results for the same search query. Okay. And you know which Boolean search terms broadens a search, that is the OR, and which Boolean search term narrows down the search, that is using AND option when it narrows down your results. And what built-in tools in most search engines is most helpful in narrowing a search. So if it helps us to find information in a meaningful way if we use the techniques, the strategies, the concepts, the keywords using and or not options, operators would throw useful information. So that's all from my end. If you have any questions, I wish I could show you a couple of examples on the web, but if time permits, I don't know. I leave it to the organizers. Over to Madam.
If anybody has any questions, I would request you to put it in the chat box. Any questions? We can have question answer session for a few minutes.
Any questions? If you have, I'll be happy to answer, or if you want me to show a couple of examples on the web, like, yes, thank you, madam. I'll just
Sir, could you just show the demo of a few?
yes, I'm going to show them, madam.
Thank you.
Yes. First of all, Scholar Google. Let me just, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir, screen is visible.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Scholar Google, as many of you know. So please, you can create a profile for yourself. And once you create a profile, you log in, and it helps you to keep a track of all the results and so on. Also, it helps you to add some libraries that you would like to add. For example, if your library has online catalog, some you say like you do some larger universities, if you are part of larger universities, it helps you to link their catalog, like University of Illinois and Harvard University. Many large universities have their library catalogs linked with the Google Scholar. Okay, here is advanced search, I want to say, as I mentioned. So with the first option, with all of the words, if I, whatever I say human, sorry, human resources management. Okay. The next field, if whatever you give input, it will use it as a phrase. Okay. The third one, if you give any input, it will take any of the words, And the fourth one, whatever you type in, it will omit them and retrieve results. Then the next option is to choose whether you are searching anywhere in the article or only in the title field. Okay, let's say anywhere, and then we can say published between 2001 to 2021 and click search. Hardly, did not find anything here. Based on this, let me refine this. Okay, I have, let me just show this advanced search once again. Human resources management. Yeah. So you see this, it has automatically taken that phrase in quotes. So you could directly come and put them into quotes. It helps you to find the articles. Google Scholar omits all the popular information. It's only scholarly content is added. And you have this, see, wherever you find author name with hyperlink, which means the author's profile is available on Scholar Google. And you have on the right side, you have links for full text articles that are available. Okay. Now let me add a combination of and administration. Earlier we found 1,43,000 results. When I use this AND option, and it's more powerful, and you got 24,600 records. So like this, you could refine your search more meaningful way by using and or not options. Okay, on the right side, you find links for full text wherever it is available. Okay, let me show the Internet Archive. Internet Archive is one of the largest repository, largest library, I would say. Even Google could not reach all the content that it is. They have scanned a huge content and made available freely. Today they talk about controlled digital lending, CDL, which means if a library, a participating library gives away their print copies of the books, they digitize and made it available freely to entire world in a controlled manner. That means if you have two copies of the book and they make two copies, digital copies literally, and it is available for people to borrow for certain period of time, for maybe for a week or 10 days or on hourly basis, depends on the agreement. And this is the Wayback Machine I mentioned. If you have used some websites earlier and not available, you can come back here always and you can locate information. Even if you, for instance, some of you from Sheshatri from Institute of Commerce and Management, if you want to know some of how your institution early websites look like, and you will find them here. And so this Wayback Machine helps you to find some of the earlier websites that are no longer available but indexed here, and it is held here. Now, the interesting thing about Internet Archive, you can create a profile for yourself, sign up. It's very simple process. And once you sign up and you log in, you have other benefits as well. So it helps you to access the information without any difficulty. So I suggest you please create an account in Internet Archive, and then you borrow books. Now I have signed in. Now here is on the, for example, this is a Wayback Machine search, whereas here down below, you have general search. It has got movies, music, and so on, and many thousands. Is the kind of content sitting there is enormous, millions of records available there. Now here is this is a basic search. That means you whatever input you give, it will search anywhere. It could be in the title, author, publisher, anywhere. Whereas if you say advanced search, where you could give specific instruction, you search in title field, search in the author field, search in the collection field, and so on. So this is advanced search option, as I mentioned. And options by default, they have been given no or not options listed here. Let me show you how a basic search works for you. The moment you key there are a number of options it shows up. The first two are important for you. The search for metadata information, which means it searches only the metadata fields like title field, author field, publisher information, and keywords fields. These are 4 or 5 fields it searches. Whereas if you say search in text content, it searches everywhere, even a word within an article, a word within a book. It's too broad for you. First, you can try here, and then if you don't find books and articles, you can always go to the text content. Let me search for, say, human or say business ethics. I say a search in search metadata field and click go. After getting results, you can refine the results based on language and period and so on. Okay, here there are journals available. Once you get the results, on the left side, you have filters to refine them. Okay, for example, like based on the media type, year of publication. Yes, I hope you can see the links here. Media type means the text, that is basically the printed collection in digital form. Audio files or collection. So if you say text, automatically your results get updated. And then you also have an option to refine based on the year of publication. So earlier you got several thousand, now you got 2,954 titles or results. Now, for example, you want to read this book. Emerging Global Business Ethics. Since I have logged in, I can borrow this book. I can borrow this for an hour. This is called controlled digital lending. So I can just simply flip through pages by clicking on the left side or right side. You can use this, the zoom in, zoom out options to read your text much more legible way. You can also download this in digital format. Like, for example, you want to download this for borrow for an hour. You can just say you want to borrow. You click on that borrow option. Now it is available. Entire book is available. Earlier, it's only the previews are available. Now all the entire book is available. You can search using this option to search for a word in this book. Supposing you want to download it offline, you might say you can borrow for 14 days. It will download in Adobe Digital Edition. If you have, okay, on the left side, you will find this encrypted PDF file, Adobe PDF file. You can click here to download that particular book. So this is so once you say open with Adobe Digital Edition, you have to install Adobe Digital Edition. It helps you to get the book in Adobe format to read for 14 days. After 14 days, the book goes back to the repository automatically. And it keeps a track of what you have borrowed. Now the entire book is available. I can hold this for 14 days. Yes, somebody has asked whether Bing, Yahoo have, almost all search engines have advanced search option. The way they have deployed their search options may differ. Like Scholar Google has a different advanced search feature, and the Bing or Yahoo has different advanced search feature. Sometimes you could also use, for example, okay, I hope this is clear for you. You can borrow this. I have borrowed this and it is available offline for me. Now I'll show you how you could use these Boolean operators even in general Google. Okay, human resources management in courts and administration. Put them in quotes, otherwise it will look for records based on human or resource management differently. So you're looking for records on human resource management. See, 5 crores, 37 lakhs records. It's a huge, we don't have time to read all that. So sometimes useful stuff may be sitting somewhere down the line. So see, better we could refine this. You always use this in capital. That is most important things to use it. It still has not changed there. You can add some more combinations and refine your results. So this is one way. In the basic search option itself, you can use this Boolean operators like academic, Microsoft. And here also you can find a huge, you see the kind of content sitting there. This is only bibliographic information. So it's helpful for us to even find information that is available out there. So you could, this is a basic search and you have an advanced search option. I think you have a sign up option as well. You can sign in and save your results. Okay, I'll stop here. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Sir, no more questions. We would like to wind up the session. We have come to the end of it. Dear audiences, a small announcement. The feedback link will be shared in the chat box. Kindly fill in the feedback link.
If you have any questions or any help you needed, you can always email me. I'll be happy to assist you in whatever way you need it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Asha PT ma'am to deliver the vote of thanks.
Hello, sir. I take an immense pleasure in proposing the vote of thanks. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the resource person, Dr. S.N. Selan, for gracing the occasion. Thank you, sir. I thank Professor Vidya Madam, Principal, SICM, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you, ma'am. I thank Sri Puttaswamy sir, SCT Libraries Advisor, for gracing the occasion. Thank you, sir. I thank all the faculties of SICM and the library staff for actively participating and making this event a success. Thank you, one and all.
I want to express my sincere thanks also to the host, and I'm indeed honored by your invitation. I enjoyed interacting with you. I hope it was beneficial for you. It is always a learning experience, it's a journey, and let's continue to learn. And as we deal with our students, that we will do our best to impact them as well. And thank you very much, madam, for having me this afternoon.
Thank you, sir.